Good morning and welcome to the European Innovation Day 2020 debate. The debate title is Equal Opportunities, Diversity and Inclusion Policy in Technology Sector and Beyond, Best Practices to Empower Women. I think this speech of Micah was incredible. It touched my heart and my mind, and I hope we're going to discuss this. My name is Dorota Haller. I am Chief Marketing Officer of Huawei Consumer Business Group in Poland, and it is my pleasure to moderate this panel discussion today. So let's welcome our incredible panelists. It is my pleasure to introduce Lucia Krestintsova, member of Equality Task Force of the Commissioner for Equality, Helena Dalli, at European Commission. Lucia, would you like to say a few words about yourself, please?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Very nice to meet you through this innovation in the making, as we say. So my name is Lucia. I work in the European Commission's team who's looking at how can we mainstream equality in all policies that we're working on, because as we've seen in the previous example of how technology enables beautiful new opportunities for disabled people, we are trying to make sure that all these equality considerations are reflected in everything that we prepare as policies supporting the European member states. Other than that, I'm also host of podcast Lives in Europe, where I'm interviewing inspiring men and women from the European policy-making space, and a career coach for young, empowering up-and-coming emerging leaders. So that's a big passion of mine, to look at the technology of transformation and how technology in the hard sense of IT, but also in the soft sense of transforming people's minds and careers and lives, how can they come together in order for creating a better and bigger impact on our societies and communities.
Thank you, Lucia. Incredible. I'm very happy that you joined us today. Thank you. Our next panelist is Bianka Siwińska, CEO of Perspektywy Foundation. She's passionate about improving the world through support of talent in girls and in STEM field. Bianka, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm just a working woman. For the last 15 years, I just working hard to empower, inspire, and support women in science, innovation, technology. I got some experiences and I'm happy to share them.
You're working on the next big event, Perspektywy Women in Tech 2020, right? So we'll stay tuned for more on that. Thank you very much for joining the panel and for a short introduction. Our next amazing panelist is Olga Kozierowska, CEO of Success Written with Lipstick Foundation, of which foundation Micah, our amazing speaker, is, let's say, laureate of. Olga, please introduce yourself quickly. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, what can I say? For 12 years, I have been supporting women in Poland and basically fighting for equality. And this word fighting is quite important today. So I'm going to do that for the rest of my life, I think. And I'm glad to be here to discuss diversity and inclusion matters, because they are very important, especially during time like this, where we are trying to survive the pandemic.
Thank you, Olga. Last but not least, our final panelist is Eliza Durka, CEO of Cosmos for Girls Foundation. Cosmic name. Eliza, please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for invitation for this panel. Yes, my name is Eliza Durka and I'm CEO of Cosmos for Girls Foundation. I have 15 years plus experience in business, working the leadership position in international corporations including tech companies. But what fascinates me is a social change and the role the key stakeholders of this process can play in business, in public administration and NGOs. And currently I focus my professional efforts on social entrepreneurship by heading Cosmos for Girls Foundation. And just a few words about us. We are a small social-driven startup, and our aim is to be a center of public debate about girls' empowerment in Poland. And we educate, we make social impact, and we cooperate with all the stakeholders of girls' empowerment process. We believe that girls have power, and we will talk about this later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wow, what an amazing group of speakers. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us today. During this panel, what we would like to do is actually to showcase best practices of your work, right, of women empowerment in technology sector and beyond, as I said before. And we want to, for this platform to serve as an exchange for experiences and ideas for experts within Europe, from across Europe. Just to give you a little bit of Polish background, I'm Polish. In Poland, women currently constitute between 20 and 25 of employees in the tech companies, in the tech industry. And there is much less of us in managerial positions in this industry. Although this share actually has increased by 6 percentage points in the last 5 years and by around 11 in company boards, we still have a long way to go. Actually, women have enormous potential. We all agree to that, and you all stated that. And we can accelerate development of technology sector and give it new quality because, to be honest, after all, we are 50% of society. The question, my first question to you would be how to do it. How we can encourage and inspire young girls and women to become scientists, tech experts, innovators, and leaders of the digital era. Eliza, would you like to answer my first question first? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. We agree that we think that all girls and all young women should, first of all, they have potential, they have power, but what's the most important, they should have a choice in their lives. Among others, choice of the career path they want to take. But to have a choice, you need to have a chance to have a choice. And to have this chance to have a choice, you need to be equal with boys and not to stay behind them in terms of competences and knowledge. And you, Dorota, mentioned some numbers. I also have some numbers which are threatening me. According to PwC report, Women in Tech, Time to Close the Gender Gap, it's covering UK market, but 3% of females say a career in technology is their first choice. 3% only. 78% of students can't name a famous female working in technology. 16% of females have had a career in technology suggested to them, comparing to 33% of males. So last but not least, 5% of leadership positions in the technology sector are held by women. Oh my God.
Yeah, but this is, this is an amazing sharing. Thank you, Eliza. And this actually, makes me ask the next question. So what are the key factors of women participation in the tech sector? How should we change these numbers? How should we inspire women? And what is the most important thing we should do to change it? Lucia, what is your perspective from the European perspective rather than Polish?
Well, obviously, there's all kinds of plethora of barriers in the way, and obviously they differ not only across Europe but globally. And here we also have global audience listening to us today. What's important, I feel, as was already mentioned, is making sure that we give individual access to tools for everybody to work with the barriers that they're facing, because there's no one individual story that resembles another. Some of us have barriers that are not just related to education that we receive, but health conditions, the geographies, access to internet, access to funding as female founders. I mean, I'm not even going to go to scary numbers that we're looking at the European level, where we see it's absolutely unbelievable how difficult it is for a woman entrepreneur to get her business up and running. But is it an empowering question to be asking ourselves what are the barriers, or is it more empowering to be asking ourselves what are the tools that we can create and how can they trickle down to the individual communities that we are part of? Because obviously there's a lot of programs, amazing, support structures and policy tools and funding programs, which can be very difficult to navigate for an individual entrepreneur. For those of us who've tried it, know that it can be very, very overwhelming when somebody comes to you and asks you, how do you benefit from this and that European legislation or funding program, because it can be a complicated world to navigate. So I think the most important question to ask ourselves is how can we show up as an agent of support for the women that we operate with in our communities, and how can we offer the access to technology, information, knowledge, skills, or funding that we have, how can we support it and spread it further, because it's only through this network field working that we can kind of help the individual stories advance more faster.
Right. So navigation through the programs. This is something that I'll definitely take out from your sentence. Thanks very much, because there is a lot of programs, but sometimes it's difficult to find the right one for a certain field of interest. Olga, you mentioned in your introduction that empowerment, women empowerment, is close to your heart and close to what you do at the foundation Sukces pisany szminką, success written in lipstick. How would you say, what's the most successful way of empowering women from your experience?
If you let me, I would like to say a few words about girls, because we live in the world of stereotypes. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing to do is to change the way of education and to make people be aware of those stereotypes. So parents, for example, will say to a girl, yeah, go do mathematics or go do IT course, not go horse riding or ballet, take ballet lessons. So this is something which we have to be aware of and basically educate ourselves, educate others, and look up at the education system at school. So to say about empowerment, I mean, yeah, I've been doing it for many years now, and I can notice that, of course, the role of women is changing, and in the field of business, in the field of equality at home as well, because my belief is that without equality at home, we will never be equal in business, in doing career, for example, because the level of energy will not be the same of working mom or working mom manager and manager male, so working father, but we don't use it because that's another stereotype. We use the word working mom, but we don't use the word working father. So basically, we have to start with ourselves, with our awareness, and then we have to be really open for differences as well, and to be able to take benefits from that. Because this is what we've been working now in our foundation to as well include men in changing the world. Otherwise, we cannot do it alone any longer.
Well, we are 50% of society, right? So we have to do it together. Thank you. Very interesting point about stereotypes.
I would like to add something here in the stereotypes. Yeah, because that's what my foundation is dealing with, and the problem starts in the classroom, because the challenges we face as women originate in school, where as Olga said, where too few girls are pursuing studies in computer and related subjects, and that's because of stereotypes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's very interesting research by DigiSkills, the lab Warsaw University, mentioning this and listing this stereotypes. And first of all, maths, it's not for you, girl. Yeah, that's the message young girls are listening from their environment, from in their house, at school. And research shows that both boys and girls have the same ability, the same talent in their early school years to learn math, but from some reasons, and this reason is stereotype, girls are dropping out, yeah, and they stay behind boys. The second very important stereotype is it's a man's world that they're at the top, yeah. There are men who are dealing with serious things in this world, and you little girl, you stay at home and do some arts or other things. And the third the stereotype, which is very dangerous for women, is that women are dedicated to their families at first place. Yeah, and when we put those three stereotypes together, we have the answer. and based on the stereotypes, we can project our activities. That's what we are doing in our foundation. I can tell about some activities we do.
Thank you very much, Eliza. This is, I absolutely agree. You know, stereotypes are here to be actually stopped, or it's our work, or your amazing work, to educate the society about this. And I believe that actions always speak louder than words. Could you ladies just share with us some examples of your actual work that fights those stereotypes or actually helps empower women in technology? And I think, Bianca, maybe you could start. Thank you.
Yes, I think I have a great example.
Yeah.
My organization organizing for last 3 years, very interesting project called IT for She. And this is very tricky idea behind. Because this project is aimed actually for boys and girls in small villages and small towns. And we are sending every year 100 volunteers to those small location destination, just to teach them for 1 week programming, robotics, new technologies, this kind of stuff. But the teachers, volunteers, are female students from IT departments, so girls only. So both boys and girls can contribute and can just take a part in it, but the teachers are females, are women. Women very good in technologies. So the idea behind it is to bring like female role model into the small villages, schools, small cities, and just to show them, not directly, but like in the unconscious way, that the woman is really good at it and can have a great career in it, and can have an education in the technologies, in STEM, in science, engineering, mathematics. So we are changing minds.
And what do you think from your perspective, excuse me, just one question came to my mind, from perspective of, you know, those girls and young women in smaller towns, do you see more barriers? Is it more difficult to talk to them and to make them believe that they have a future in tech or math or science? It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course, because those are usually more traditional communities. And the stereotypes we are not experiencing anymore in, I don't know, Warsaw, other big cities, are very alive in there. So those girls especially needs inspiration. We published a report in 2015, Women's Potential for High-Tech Industry, and we were talking with 2,000 secondary school girls. And we are trying to find out what is the difference between this group, which is choosing science, technology, informatics for their future education, and what is this critical factor, what differentiates this group from all others, the majority. So the only thing we could find actually was lack of role models, lack of good stories of successful women in mathematics, engineering, programming. As Eliza mentioned before, almost 90% of girls from these traditional communities didn't experience any inspiration from this side. So such organizations like Perspektywy, like Sukces pisany szminką, like Kosmos dla dziewczynek, we are providing good stories for girls.
Thank you. What I would say, you ladies, you actually walk the talk, and this is the most important thing. It's not just about inspiring and talking, having a panel like this one, thanks for sharing again, but walking the talk. So actually, you know, putting actions behind words. I have now another, you know, more practical maybe question to you, Lucia. What are, because you mentioned there are so many different initiatives, what would be the most effective programs from your perspective to help building more equal and inclusive digital society in Europe?
What a question.
I know. I don't expect you to actually name them, but perhaps we can give some kind of a roadmap for our viewers where to look for those, just to be a practical help.
Of course. Maybe to frame a little bit what we're doing in the European Commission, the easiest way for the audience to understand what we do is if you search in your internet browser European Commission Gender Equality Strategy, you will come to a website which tells you everything about the equality strategy that was adopted by the European Commission under the first ever mandate, which is led by the first female president of the European Commission and the first female commissioner designated for equality only. There's a whole series of actions which focus on legislation to support workers' pay gap, pension gap, domestic violence, a whole series of problems that women face. So that's a little bit the policy framework, which is always accompanied by concrete action. So whatever area is close to your heart, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a mother or you're a victim of violence or you're a cybersecurity expert curious about what is it that we have at our disposal at European level, I would really invite you to go to those websites and look at the angle that is closest to you. Then second, I would recommend for everybody to question their sources. We have all kinds of information shot at us about what Europe is and is not and does and doesn't. It's very interesting and very complicated space to navigate. So I think it's a very important homework for everybody to do in choosing what source they're consuming as an information source, because it's not easy. So out of all organizations like the ones that we have on the panel here, or the journalists or platforms that you're following, be very careful about the information that you're seeking, and pick an influencer or a knowledgeable journalist or a politician that you feel is active in this space to follow them and feed you the up-to-date information whenever there's a new thing coming up that could be relevant for you, because this is such a crowded space, and now we're not in an era of lack of information. We're simply in an era of fighting for people's attention and understanding of an ability to navigate that space. So it's important to choose who is going to be our source. And as we already mentioned, also pick the role models that we're following and think about how you can become a role model for a female entrepreneur that's in your neighborhood, in your family, in your community, because it's really, I really believe being a policymaker, at the same time, I always keep on repeating that it's important that we don't forget the second side of the coin, which is playing our individual responsibility role vis-a-vis the women and men that are around us, so that we really help to fight those stereotypes in our most immediate circles.
Yeah, thank you very much. Stereotypes, but also the language. Sometimes it's difficult to understand the language on official sites of EU and European Commission. And Lucia, you're doing a great job actually translating it into consumer language, or more, let's say, every user-friendly language. So thanks for that comment. Olga, you mentioned women and men and women at work, moms at work and fathers at work as a non-existent. Perhaps our current experience of the global pandemic made us realize even more the importance of speeding up of empowerment efforts. You know, all of us, all of a sudden, we work from home, we educate our kids from home, we live at home, we spend all of our lives at home. And this is a new reality, which we don't know when it's going to change. Can we see this as an opportunity? Maybe that's a little bit of a different question, but do you see that this potentially an opportunity? And what can we do to use this time of crisis to change and to make the world maybe more inclusive and compassionate?
Yeah, that's
Olga,
a long
or anybody. It's just your comment inspired me for this question, so that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, so do we have like 10 hours to talk about that at least?
I don't think so, but hey, you know, maybe we'll stretch this panel a little bit. No, obviously shortly, but you know, it really makes a lot of women think about this? And I've had a lot of conversation about this also among professional women.
Yeah, first of all, we've done research as a foundation, and we found out that during lockdown, for example, women on average were working 11 hours more than men because they were doing everything else, like taking care of kids, doing homework with them, or basically becoming teachers, cleaning, cooking, taking care of other things at home, plus working, using, of course, internet and different platforms. So it was really hectic. Moreover, or beside that, that would be the better word, I see many opportunities for equality as using internet and working from home now give you flexibility, give you a less pressure in a way. You can show your work more easily in a way because not only usually you can prove your career or prove the work you do by doing some networking or basically promoting yourself in a traditional way. But now the traditional way doesn't work. So basically, this is becoming more transparent. In terms of women being promoted and basically showing their work and successes. I personally like crises as this forced me to think how to do it in a different way, new way, how to use technologies, how to look at your business, at your work from completely different perspective. So I really believe that we can use technology and use this difficult time to grow in a way.
Yeah, crises stimulate creativity, some people think, and I understand you think that too. So thank you for this perspective. Well, ICTs are especially relevant today as we face this rapidly changing world and we are in this crisis. I have a question which might seem a little bit controversial, but do you ladies think that technology sector should have gender parity? Should we have 50-50 women and men working in this sector? Okay, this is a very interesting reaction.
Okay, so maybe I just start. In my opinion, it's not about exact like numbers, like 50-50. The issue is that all women who are like created for it or just interested in it or just wants to fulfill their potential in the era of new technologies, they just should have their opportunity, their chance to do it. If it will be 35%, 43 or 61, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Elisa?
Yes, I agree with Bianca that it's hard to set the numbers, the limits. I think that the most important is showing the necessity of women working in technology and like joining this field arm in arm with men. And I strongly believe that work on role models, so like showing the successful women who are in technology in the tech sector is really the most important thing, just to showing tangible way that such a development path is not only available, but it's attractive for women and girls. And I would like to share with you some our activities in this field. So we publish bi-weekly Cosmos for Girls magazine, in which we fight for empowering young girls, and in every issue we show the role model, the example of the woman who is successful in her field. Here is the issue about technology purely, and we have the story of Joanna, who is programmer, yeah, and so we tell about her life, how she did it, what the stereotypes she was fighting with, how she achieved her success, and how she feels in this technology sector. And we strongly believe that speaking this language to young women is the answer for achieving this goals. And yeah, so I think that role models once again are the most important.
Well, again, it's walking the talk. Thanks for sharing this example. This is an example of girls who are actually programmers, right? You know, there is another question, because we're talking a lot about young women and girls and about education, as this is key to change the mindset of our youngsters. But how do you think we could change mindset of managers, actually, of managers and organizational cultures towards becoming more inclusive and supportive of women in leadership in technology and beyond? Many corporations have a lot of programs, but and it's fantastic, it's great that those programs exist, but I believe that actually we have to change everyone's mindset and again walk the talk. How do you think we could do that?
I believe that I'm sorry, my computer is running out of the battery, so I will let somebody speak first. I'm sorry.
Okay, Olga.
Okay, maybe maybe I will just add a little bit academic perspective, because managers, of course, coaches, of course, but I'm dealing very often with rectors of technical universities. This is a very interesting group to work with. Usually, these are like older men, engineers, in power, and they are not so easy to, be impressed with what I'm saying. But I need to work with them because I'm organizing many events at technical universities for students, for young professionals, cooperate with all 20 Polish technical universities. So I need to convince them to support women, to be open for women, to give us space. So what I'm doing, I'm not trying to talk with them directly, but I'm always trying to find someone even older, even more engineer, even more, traditional in the mindset. Like, for example, president of European Rectors Association, yes? So this is kind of role model for Polish rector, yes? So this is like kind of a dream career for Polish rector. And I'm convinced this guy to talk to my guys, because directly it doesn't work. This is experience for last 15 years. You need to find someone who people you are trying to convince to something are just respecting. So this is like triangle of role models.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm back. Yeah.
We'd like to have you back, Olga.
Thank you. One thing is, of course, diversity, and many companies are speaking loudly about diversity, having programs for that, programs for empowering women, but they're not doing one thing which is extremely important, which is called inclusion. So this is the most important word. And what I found out that we really need more men and more leaders, women leaders as well, to help us to achieve equality in business. Otherwise, we have only publicity of huge companies talking about diversity and inclusion, But when we look at numbers, we can see, I don't know, 60, 70% of women to the top or to the level of managers, and then above 1%, 2%, sometimes 6%, or none in some industries. So what we need is to do programs from bottom up and from top down. So to involve those leaders, to be open for that and to support that. And as Bianca said, when I join a party and people don't know me and I'm with my husband and I say I'm a feminist, they really react in a usually strange way. So I'm not a hero. But when my husband says that he's a feminist, then he's a hero, and that's amazing. So that's why I have created within our foundation club, where 12 CEOs, male CEOs, are talking to people with my words. So it becomes important because they support it. It's not maybe I didn't use it correctly, not my words, but basically words they believe in and they support. And because they are engaging other men from the companies, so the understanding, awareness is growing. What I've learned as well is that men are really afraid of word gender equality. They think it's most of all helping women and taking away things from them, privileges. So it's really important for men to understand that if somebody has privileges, this person does not see that. We don't see privileges in the household environment. For example, taking care of kids. When somebody wants to divorce me, who will take kids? Me as a woman or a guy? This is my privilege as a woman. But, and I don't see that if I don't really look at that from a close perspective. And it's the same in business. Guys don't see they have privileges, and the privilege was given to them by history because they created business. They've been developing that for years, for hundreds of years. So this is really important for them to understand that we don't want to take away their privileges. We want the same privileges.
Exactly. Very nice point, Olga. Thank you.
Yeah, girls, I think that we should look on the bright side also. And,
Always.
And the bright side are numbers, which speak for themselves. Like every business which wants to develop should focus on diversity, because diversity is an engine for the development and for creativity. Yeah, so those organizations which want to grow, to develop, should focus on diversity, and no one can stop this process. It's just happening. So it's hard, but it's going on.
Definitely. And we all, organizations like yourselves help. Sorry, I didn't hear.
I said that especially in crisis, we need diverse team. We need diversity. We need to use talents from both sexes because this will bring everybody money and success, and business will grow, and we can go abroad with our ideas, with our products. So this is really important. Otherwise, we create something for a small group, for like Poles, for example, and if we want to sell it, I don't know, across the ocean, nobody will buy it because Poles will only create it.
Well, Olga, you asked if we have a week. Unfortunately, we don't. I have a final question. I wish we had, but I have a final question. And the question is, do you think technology can help gender equality and women economic empowerment? And if so, how?
Yeah, I can only say from business perspective that it really gives a lot of opportunities, even for women being on maternity leave or parental leave. They can open their companies, they can sell their products even through Instagram or Facebook or different platforms. And I really think that this gives us flexibility and really a lot of opportunities. Not only for big corporations, but as well for people willing to earn some money working from home.
And I would say that technology is a tool only in the hands of people. So it depends, because technology, of course, can support a fight with discrimination, with stereotypes. It can empower women and give them tool for, like Olga said, for self-development, for business. But also, when used in the wrong way, can reproduce different kind of stereotypes, like from artificial intelligence algorithms. It can be dangerous. It can be excluding people. So at the end of the day, people are responsible for technology. And if the society, the community is aware enough and understand that women are power and women are potential and women have this ability to change the world and to bring a lot of qualities, a lot of knowledge, a lot of work, ideas. So in this case, it will work.
Thank you, Elisa. Lucia?
And absolutely yes, from my side. It's funny that I just got disconnected from the call for a while, so it's funny how the technology can empower and also take us out of a conversation. Yeah, I think it's a very powerful channel, a tool for transformation. It's important to be knowledgeable and aware of how we use it, because this was already mentioned. The words create worlds, and it's important to be aware of what kind of conversations we facilitate through the technology. And it's not just the question of the numbers game, but exactly a conversation about inclusion and what kind of value is there coming out of diversity for our society and organization. So it's not just about quota and pay gap and the very tip of the iceberg kind of conversation, but it's really about the value of the feminine leadership and what kind of tools we can provide to one another for the women leaders to rise to the levels at which they would like to create that impact, and how men can also be part of that conversation and empower them along the way. Which also brings me to a point that I wanted to make previously, which is about the power of the support structures that are so important for every woman, because sometimes we're lucky to have a very conscious leader on top of the organization who acknowledges the value of equality and diversity for the organization. Sometimes there are very powerful structures and almost like bottom-up initiatives in the companies, but oftentimes these women leaders feel very lonely as almost unicorns in their organizations, which stand for a new vision.
I would also add that actually not only technology can empower women, but women can empower technology, can bring a lot of new things, a lot of new ideas, and also can just direct a little bit technology in the way that they should serve the people. We are experiencing a lot of crises. COVID is one of them, but also climate change is coming. We need wise technologies and wise people responsible for technologies. So I think this mix of women and technology, this is something what really can give us the hope for the future.
Beautifully said, Bianca. Thank you. Elisa, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I'm impressed with what Bianca said, and I fully agree with you. And I also agree with Olga. So I think that in this pandemic world, technology more than ever is a huge change, and it's like window of opportunity for women, because unfortunately women are this group which is more affected by, negatively affected by this situation, this invisible work of women. We were talking about it, and in this particular case, during this crisis we are facing right now, technology can be relief, can be a change, and the way how we use it is another story, but the most important is that we have it and we can use it.
Thank you. Ladies, I'm very practical. I'm a businesswoman. So thanking you very much for taking part in the European Innovation Day 2020. To wrap up, I would like to ask a very pragmatic question. In one sentence or one word or short 2 sentences, what would you say is your takeout from this panel?
I think I will use my last words just to invite all women in technology, but also men, for Perspective Women in Tech Summit 2020, which will take place in December. And I think that this is a great opportunity to continue this conversation and meet great people, because 10,000 women will be online with us. And this is what I wanted to share.
Thank you. We'll definitely be there. Olga?
My takeout is to go on and to change the world of stereotypes, because as we can all see, and you asked about women in technologies being on top and parities. So if we have more women, then we will talk about parities. So that's an opportunity for future.
Thank you very much. Lucia?
For me, it's think about one thing that you can do for one of the women around you for her to shine more than she does already. That's what I'm also trying to do via my podcast. So if that's interesting for anybody, please get in touch. My greatest passion is to really shine the light on the new leaders who are trying to lead through new value space and show how we can be those role models for others.
Thank you very much. Elisa? Your takeout?
For me, the takeout is about cooperation and collaboration, and what we showed here during this panel. So cooperation between stakeholders from different sectors, and that's what we did here today. So thank you very much, like business and public administration and NGOs together, trying to work out how to empower women. I think that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much for your attention. This is a wrap-up, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.